welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Kaylee and this is Foodie Friday. As usual, before we get started, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you never miss a recipe or an update, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. So, filming things a little differently this week. Obviously, I am not in front of my usual background in my bedroom. I decided to let my little man take the spotlight this week on Foodie Friday. As you guys know, I am a new mom, so things have been kind of crazy around here. I'm still adjusting. I am 2 months postpartum and this little man is officially 2 months old. So I'm still learning this new mom thing. So that's why Foodie Friday did not happen last week. I had some computer trouble, plus he was pretty fussy last week. But anyways, I'm so excited you guys are joining me this week for Foodie Friday. This week's recipe, we are going to be making one of my new favorite holiday treat obsessions, and that is s'mores donut. I don't know about you, but every time I think of a s'mores, I have a great holiday memory, whether it's during Thanksgiving time or Christmas. We always gather around the fire and make s'mores as a family. So I'm really excited to give a mashup of my two favorite treats, s'mores and donuts, and roll it into one recipe for you guys. As always, in usual measure me whole fashion, I created this recipe with healthier ingredients and it is gluten-free. Yeah, Bennett's wanting you to know that he's really excited about these donuts. But without further ado, let's get to baking. So the first thing we are going to do is make the dough for our donuts. So I have just a few simple ingredients. If you watched my apple cider donuts video, then this recipe is exactly the same. We're just switching out the apple cider for dairy-free milk. But you're just gonna be using a few simple gluten-free ingredients. As always, the ingredients are listed in the description box below. And I also have swaps for those of you who are not gluten-free. But the first ingredient that we have is 5 cups of gluten-free flour. I have my favorite that I've linked below for you guys, but if you're not gluten-free, you can use 5 cups of bread flour. If you want to add a little bit of graham cracker to this, you can swap out 1 cup of flour for 1 cup of gluten-free graham crackers, and that's a really great addition. Then we have 4 tablespoons of coconut sugar. That's going to be our low glycemic sugar. Then we have 6 tablespoons of active dry yeast. We then will move into our wet ingredients. So we have 2 cups of warm milk. You can find how hot you need your milk below. And then we also have 2 egg yolks as well as 2 whole eggs. This is very important for your dough, just because it's going to help bind everything together. And then we have 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and our final ingredient is 1/2 cup of coconut oil. And you want to measure this coconut oil out before melting it. Now it's time to assemble our dough. So in a large stand mixer, or if you do not have a stand mixer, you can definitely use a large mixing bowl and a wooden spoon, but I just like to use my stand mixer to make this just a little bit easier. We're going to add in our 2 cups of warmed milk, as well as our 6 tablespoons of active dry yeast and 2 cups of flour. So just adding 2 right now. Then we're going to mix this until a very sticky batter forms. And once this is all mixed together and smooth and sticky, we're going to cover it with a kitchen towel and set in a warm area to rise for 20 minutes. So this recipe has 3 different rises. You're going to let the whole dough rise once for 20 minutes, and then an additional hour. You'll let it rise once we have all the rest of our flour and other ingredients incorporated. And then you will let, once your donuts are cut out, them rise again for another 20 minutes. This will just allow for a very fluffy, light, airy fried donut in the end. After 20 minutes, your dough should have doubled in size and it should have lots of bubbles. You're just going to put this back on your stand mixer and use your dough hook to deflate your risen dough. So once your dough has been deflated, and like I said, if you are using a large bowl and wooden spoon, just deflate it with your spoon. You're going to slowly add in the rest of your ingredients. So I just threw in the eggs, egg yolks, coconut oil, coconut sugar, vanilla into my mixing bowl, mixed this up until everything was well incorporated, and then I slowly add in my flour. So I'm adding in flour 1/2 cup at a time. I do not have this pictured, but I did switch out 1 cup of my flour for 1 cup of graham crackers that I just finely ground in my food processor. I did use gluten-free graham crackers. I have some that I found on Amazon linked below. But if not, you can just use all of your flour. So if you're just using flour, it's 5 cups, but if you're using flour with the graham crackers, it would be 4 cups of flour. But you're going to add whatever flour you're using, 1/2 cup at a time until the dough begins to really form. This will still be a sticky dough, but it should pull away from the sides of your bowl, and that's how you know that it is ready. Your dough has come together. It's time to let it rise for the second time. So we're going to place this in our refrigerator for 1 hour to rise. Once the dough has risen for 1 hour, it's time to make some donuts. So we're going to roll out our dough. Last video, I rolled my dough out on my kitchen table and I had a huge mess to clean up. So this time I'm doing a floured cutting board. Highly suggest doing that just because it got quite messy. But we're going to cut out our donuts. Last time I used a large mason jar lid, but anything round will work. This time I'm going to show you a different stuffing method, but if you want to see the easier way to stuff your donuts, you can go check out my video for my apple cider donuts. I've linked that above for you guys. But we're going to cut out our circles. This dough makes 30 donuts, so typically I roll it out, cut out about 12 to 15 donuts, and then roll the rest of the dough up and place it in my freezer to use at a later date, just because I cannot eat 30 donuts quick enough. One thing I would like to note is we're going to roll this dough out to 1/2 inch thick. So the last donut recipe I did 1/4 inch just because we stuffed them a little differently, but this time we're just doing 1/2 inch thick circles. So make all of your circles, place them on a lined baking sheet. I lined my baking sheet with either press and seal wrap that I've sprayed with cooking oil or parchment paper that I've sprayed with cooking oil. Either way, spray whatever you're putting on your pan because you do not want your dough to stick during the next rise that it has to go through. But place all of your donuts on your prepared baking sheets, set aside and cover with plastic wrap that has also been sprayed with cooking oil, and let these rise for 20 minutes or until the dough springs back when you press into it with your finger. Your donuts are going through their final rise, you're going to make your filling. So we're just using 1 cup of Enjoy Life chocolate chips and 1 can of coconut milk, and you're going to use the full fat coconut milk, not the light. And you will place your coconut milk, I place mine in my refrigerator overnight, but if you need to place it in your freezer for just 30 minutes, we're going to separate the coconut fat from the water, and you're going to use the fat to make this chocolate ganache filling. So once you have those separated, I usually take mine out of the fridge, open it up, and just scoop out the thick white part into a separate bowl. You're going to heat this up in your microwave in 30-second intervals until it is extremely hot. Once your coconut milk is extremely hot, you're going to pour it over your Enjoy Life chocolate chips and let this sit for 1 minute. I usually let my milk pretty much cook for 2 minutes, so if you want to just place it in your microwave for 2 minutes, you can do that. Just be careful when grabbing it out because it could scald you. But after 1 minute has passed, go ahead and stir your milk and chocolate chips together. The chocolate chips will have melted, and this will create a smooth and creamy ganache filling. And once your filling has come together, place this back in your refrigerator for about 30 minutes to stiffen up. Now it is time to fry up our donuts. We're going to add 24 ounces of canola oil in a large pot. You can also use safflower oil in this recipe, and we're going to heat this over medium-high heat. You'll know that the temperature is just right when you stick a wooden spoon handle into the oil and bubbles form around it. So once your oil is hot, you're going to add 2 to 3 donuts and let these cook for 1 to 2 minutes per side or until they're golden brown. Then you'll remove them from the oil and allow them to cool completely before filling them. I'm using a Ziploc baggie that I filled with my ganache, but you can also use a frosting bag with a frosting tip that actually will help you get inside the donut easier. I had to take a clean pair of scissors and kind of stab the side and then fill them. But just fill each donut up until it puffs up and then set aside for frosting. For the frosting, you're just going to take 2 cups of mini marshmallows and melt these in a microwave-safe bowl in your microwave until smooth. You'll dip the top of your filled donut in and place them on a baking rack, and we will place these in the oven with your broiler on high until the top gets golden brown. If you have a brulee torch, I would highly suggest doing this to brown or toast the top of your marshmallows. It just makes it less drippy than it will be in your oven. Friends, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. As always, be sure to give this video a like, as well as subscribe to my channel so you never miss a recipe. If you're new to the Measure Me Whole family, be sure to leave a comment below so I can say hi. As always, I look forward to getting together next week where we cook another nutritious and delicious dish. See you guys later. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.